Hi everyone. So let's get right down to it. Just finished my 21-day extended water fast, extended water tea fast, and I just wanted to share the results with you. Like pretty straightforward. I'm gonna share with you what the results were, the learnings from it, and there are a lot of learnings, and share with you some recommendations in case you want to try it. Um, if you're crazy. So the reason why I did this is not just for the physical. Now I know my thumbnail is with my shirt off and all that, but midway through this fast, I was only gonna do 14 days, but then I realized how important it is for your spiritual health. And in the Bible, it's mentioned for Jesus and Buddha and Muhammad was a big faster as well. So I wanted to do 21 days of fasting and prayer, which has been done by others, and so there was a combination of factors that made me want to do it. It wasn't just to get ripped or get thin or just take off my shirt and oh I'm sexy, nothing like that. It's I started because I wanted to make my body more keto adapted, ketones adapted, and see the effects on my brain, but also really the combination of all the physical, mental, and the spiritual, and that's what happened. So let's go over the results real quick. Um, 20 pounds down since 21 days ago. So I was at 147. I got down to 127 by the end of the 21st 21 days. Down 3 points on the BMI, down 4.5% body fat, which I thought was amazing because which is expected because I lost about half that in the 10-day fast. So I got all the way down to 8.7% body fat, which I had never done before in my adult life. Um, Visceral fat is 2, subcutaneous fat is 7.9%. These were all very good numbers according to my Renfo weight scale, probably the lowest I've ever been. I was a little bit worried about my metabolic rate going very, very low, which is expected because you're not consuming any calories, your metabolism goes down, but then it'll go back up again when you eat again. And muscle level, skeletal muscle, and body water actually stayed the same or even went up during the fast, although it went down initially. But anyways, muscle mass did decrease according to the Renfro scale. But overall, I think the protein sparing effects were definitely evident. I didn't lose everything, but I could definitely see that some of my strength might have been affected from compared to when I was weightlifting and just eating whatever. So let's go with the learnings. Okay, there's so many of them, so I'm gonna try to number them. But first of all, it wasn't just a physical cleaning. When you do an extended fast for 21 days, it doesn't just clean up your body through autophagy, although that was incredible. I got rid of all my chronic pains, the chronic joint pains that weren't going away after like 2 years, like wrist pain, ankle pain, whatever. They all went away. So I thought I had carpal tunnel, but now I don't feel anything, and it's amazing. I was getting like 20 sessions of acupuncture, and that helped a little bit. But after 21 days of fasting, I think it has something to do with the healing and the stem cell recovery and all that. But it's just gone. My ankle, which I hurt since I was a teenager, it feels a lot better. My ligament area, it's amazing. I don't know how that could have happened. So that's one. But also going back to the mental aspect, the mental cleansing was the biggest factor, I think, because when you're not eating, your brain stops pumping out dopamine from food, obviously, because you're not eating. So actually, initially, it's very, very hard. And I did experience that in the 10-day fast, but on this 21-day extended one, the effect was exponential. So my brain was going a little bit crazy, like, oh my God, you're not giving me dopamine from eating. What are you going to do? What's happening? So it was like a cleansing of the things that I was kind of like running away from, so to speak. So like it brought up like resentments, it brought up like negative feelings that were stuck from the past, like the things that I was perhaps escaping in my life. They kept surfacing, and it's incredible how that could just happen from not eating. But since the brain has more time to process things, it's not pumping out dopamine from like eating junk food anymore. It has more time to kind of cleanse itself, I think, and I think that's what happened. And I ended up through the 21 days to kind of addressing and kind of thinking about some of the things that were bothering me mentally, like resentment towards friends or family, or my regrets, and all those negative thought patterns that kind of came up, and it was a way for me to relieve them, although it was tough. So that was one. And number two is a very interesting brain implications. So Dr. Berg and other people on YouTube say that the brain loves ketones. It loves being on ketosis all the time. I think there is truth to that. Like my brain was on fire, definitely. And I felt like perhaps smarter, not just the memory, but like learning new things. At work, I was like sharp as a tack, much sharper than when I'm just eating all the time. But there are interesting brain implications. It definitely helps, but and there's no like crash at all. You're just brain awake the whole time, sharp the whole time during the day between the time you wake up and all the way you go to sleep. But because your electrolytes are very low and you're in a very fragile state, if you mess that up, you might feel very depressed all of a sudden. So it happened to me a couple of times during the 21 days. Like I felt like really depressed, and I had to address them because I didn't realize that I wasn't getting enough sunlight, which must have been affecting my vitamin D. And it probably had something to do with like magnesium. I think magnesium has a lot to do with kind of depression causing factors. So once I addressed the electrolytes and got some sunlight, I was like, oh my God, I'm back. But it's definitely, you have to be careful. The third thing I learned is that caffeine is not good in an extended fast. Now, Thomas DeLauer and Dr. Berg says other things during like a 24, 48 hour, 72 hour fast, caffeine is fine. Coffee will help curb appetite and things like that. I agree to a degree if you are doing less than 72 hours. But once you go over, caffeine is too overly taxing on an extended fast. It was killing me. I thought it was going to help me with my appetite, but as soon as I started drinking high caffeine coffee or yerba mate tea, around day 4 or day 5, after that, it was just like, oh, like heart was just like palpitating like crazy, like makes you sweat. It makes you even colder. Like when you're fasting, your limbs get super, super cold. I think it has something to do with constricting your blood vessels and your blood flow not being as good because your body's trying to conserve energy. And caffeine will do even more of that. It'll constrict everything, and you will just become freezing. And then I just started sweating. So I was like, oh my God, the coffee is just, this is not good. So I just cut it off after like day 5, after I drank like a whole bottle of yerba iced tea because I love that stuff. And I love coffee, but I just had to cut it out. I think it's only applicable to relatively shorter extended fast or intermittent fasting. I'm sure it's useful in intermittent fasting because caffeine helps you work out and then break the fast. But since you're not breaking fast for 20 days, I do not recommend caffeine at all. Next thing I wanted to mention is that Epsom salt bath is amazing. So I think Epsom salt is basically magnesium sulfate, if I'm not mistaken. So since you're not taking in magnesium from food, once you're low on electrolytes like magnesium, you're gonna start flipping some shit. So a lot of things are gonna go wrong. Like like I mentioned, like you're gonna get super depressed. You might, or your muscles are gonna be super fatigued, which I didn't mention. After about day 10 or so, your muscles are just going to be like an old man muscle. Like you're not going to be able to move very easily. So magnesium is very, very important, or potassium and other electrolytes too. So make sure that you get your magnesium, but if you're not getting it through a supplement, because I try not to eat any supplements, I try to stay, as natural fasting as possible. So I just took an Epsom salt bath once a week in the beginning, but then I realized how much it was helping. So I was just taking it like once every 2 to 3 days. And it just recovers you because I think your body absorbs the magnesium through your skin, which I didn't know how significant that was, but it made a whole difference. I did mention the muscle fatigue. So I this time I was like so gung ho, and I tried to do like intense weightlifting even in the first few days of the extended fast, but it was becoming very apparent that after about day 8, 9 or so, that muscle fatigue was becoming real because of the low levels of electrolytes, and there was no way that I just felt like an old man. My heart was palpitating as soon as I started doing some reps. So I stopped that, and I just stuck to very light walks, and even planks were hard after about like day 12. So I took it very lightly. Yeah, I do not recommend intense workouts, especially because you're not replenishing your nutrients, and you could possibly pass out. I really did pass out a little bit trying to push myself after like day 10. So next thing I mentioned is the very cold. Everything is going to be very cold, um, especially around days 14 to 20. It was spring weather. It's like June now, well, May, end of May. But everybody was wearing t-shirt, and I was trying to take a walk outside with a winter coat on because I was so cold. Yeah, your body temperature is going to be very cold, especially at night. So please be careful. I was wearing wool the whole day, especially at night, like with layers. Next thing is sleep disturbances. So sleep disturbances were extreme this time around. Although I experienced the same in the last time, this time it was basically after day 11 or so, you wake up at 12. You try to go to sleep at like, now I try to go to sleep at like 9 and 10. I wake up at 12. I'm awake for a couple of hours, and then I try to go back to sleep between like 3 to 5, 3 to 6. So apparently this is very common. It has to do with fasting, trying to keep you awake, and it wasn't too much of a problem. You just have to be productive when you're awake, when nobody else is awake. Next thing I want to mention is the vitamin D. Vitamin D is very important, especially because you're not getting it from food. So if you're not getting vitamin D from your supplement or food, then the only way is to get sunlight. You gotta take walks outside, especially between 10 a.m. to like 2 p.m. when the sunlight is the strongest. So I didn't know that, and I was feeling very depressed around days 12 to like 20. And then I started fixing this, and I started feeling a lot better. So you have to get sunlight. Sunlight will help you get the vitamin D naturally without eating. So you have to get sunlight. Prayer was a big part of this fasting period for me. 21 days of fasting and prayer. So also I meditated, but prayer and meditation became much more powerful during this period. So if you are into those things, and if you want to experience that spiritual level growth, I highly recommend doing an extended fast in conjunction with the prayer and the meditation. The last thing I want to mention perhaps is that the recovery period now is very important. So today is Saturday, and I ended this fast on Wednesday. And for the past few days, right after the extended fast, I had to be very careful, especially with advice from other people, not to eat a lot of stupid stuff after an extended fast like this. This is very important, and your digestive system won't be back online fully when you break a 21-day fast or longer. My digestive system was very fragile, and there were a lot of internet articles about how yogurt and kefir probiotics are good for you and your gut. So I listened to that, and I think I drank way too much kefir, ate a little bit too much yogurt with probiotics in it, because it messed me up real bad. Especially with the dairy industry, there's a lot of non-organic stuff, a lot of dairy farms being unethical with like GMO feeds to the cows and antibiotics. So you never know how toxic the dairy foods can be. So unless you're sure that it's organic and the probiotics are not too much, because too much probiotics can definitely ruin the digestive balance as well. I just don't recommend it. I don't recommend yogurt either when you're first breaking an extended fast. I think you should really focus on something very easy to digest, very healthy, like a little bit of vegetable broth, miso soup, with very small, soft solids, or no solids at all to start. And I basically made purees, sweet potato puree, butternut squash pumpkin puree, very easy to digest, almost like baby food. And it felt so good. It was like the best thing I ever tasted. So I think those are good. Miso soup is good. A little bit, just a little bit. And now I'm finally getting back to some solid foods. So I highly recommend that. So please stay away from dairy in the beginning, especially if you're lactose intolerant. That probably was my other problem. And I think that's about it. My last recommendation is that you drink warm tea, like warming tea, because again, your body's gonna get very cold. So if you drink warm tea with a little bit of lemon water, lemon juice, or not lemon juice, like lemon, freshly squeezed lemon juice, or jasmine tea, warm jasmine tea with a little bit of cinnamon or medlar or anything that makes you a little bit warmer, like ginger, turmeric, they all seem to help very much. And they warm you up and they kind of keep you going through the day. And things like cinnamon and nutmeg, I found are very good to put in your water, warm water. To they have nutrients in them as well, so they warm you up and they sustain you. So all in all, I think my food appreciation became so much larger from this experience. I'll never take food lightly again. We live in such a fragile web of food and nutrition, and we can only thank, especially the organic farmers that take so much care into growing their food without harmful pesticides, herbicides, and harmful practices. So we should really take time to appreciate those farmers, people who grow foods, and it was amazing. Like food is what allows us to live fully. You know, if we don't eat like that, like an extended fast, um, you start losing a lot of energy. Like I was saying, like your neurotransmitters are not going to work as well. Your muscles going to be fatigued. All your electrolytes are going to be low. So you're not going to be able to exercise as hard, sing, or like work as smart. And you're there's so much muscle fatigue. Like you start realizing, oh my God, it's the food that in our system that allows us to live fully. And without that, basically we can't live 100% of our capacity. So when you do a really long fast like this, it really helps you understand and appreciate the role of food in your life. That it's not something to take as a chore, but it's also not something that you can just abuse. That it's not something that you can just use for fun or as an escape method. Something to just indulge in when you're trying to run away from negative feelings like self-hatred or regret or anything like that. You're not supposed to use it like that. You're supposed to nourish your body and your mind. And as long as you stay disciplined, it'll help really turn you into a strong, integrated person. I don't know how to say it. We really need to be close to our food. This guy, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And really fuel ourselves with the cleanest and the best materials possible, because that's what sustains us. And that's what came out in my mental cleansing as well. When you're not eating and you're doing autophagy in a severe way, you are not just doing a physical cleansing, but you are also targeting the kind of negative feelings that were lodged in you when you were stress eating or when you are using food as an escapism. So when you're not doing that, all of those negative feelings have to go out. They have to be released. And once you release them, you realize that, oh, I was eating probably that cheeseburger or that donut because I was upset. Just like Po from Kung Fu Panda, Po eats when he's upset. A lot of people do that, including myself. So when you do a fast, it resets that. So you have to address those things, and that's why this fast was very useful for spiritually, mentally, and physically. I talk too much. Thanks, guys. Bye.